A very warm welcome to another episode of Fauza's Diary. If you are looking for something little and yet inspiring and captivating, then you have stumbled upon the right show. That's the beauty about my diaries. They inspire us, they encourage us, but also they make us think. Joining me today on this conversation is my sister friend, Dr. Sharon Mendoza. She's a single mother. She oversees Filipino workers. She's an educator. She's a breast cancer survivor and an advocate of environment and cancer awareness. Dr. Sharon also, she's an assistant professor of Skyline University in United Arab Emirates. I've invited Dr. Sharon to have this conversation with me because of her heart of wanting to share her experiences with all of us. And on this conversation today, we are talking about cancer is a blessing. Dr. Sharon, thank you so much for joining me on this conversation and just for us to have this conversation on your journey. Because before we went, before we started recording, I just felt like you are so positive about your journey. And when I said to you, will you be okay to share this experience? You said, why not? That is part of my work. Let's do it. Let's create awareness. So thank you so much for your time and for your willingness to share with others. Welcome to Fauza Diaries, Dr. Sharon.
Good morning, Maganda, and everyone, to all who are actually watching to your Fauza Diary. Like I told you, it's a very creative way to share information to everyone. And our topic today is about cancer is a blessing. I will be sharing my journey on why I say that cancer is a blessing, because we know for a fact that a human being as we are, it tends to be our nature that when we hear a word cancer, immediately what is in our mind is death.
Yeah,
death. So that is not actually really true. That's the reason why I love the topic that you gave me, cancer is a blessing, because I want to share my journey in a very positive way. Okay, and also people would basically think that we should not be afraid of the big C. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listening to you talk and when we had our conversation, getting ready to have this interview, I just felt your spirit was so positive with all this journey. I mean, it's easier said than done, Dr. Sharon. But also what I want us to begin with on this conversation is, how did you find out, that it was cancer? Were you sick? How did you know? What really happened before you got the news that it's cancer?
You see, Maganda, one thing that I may say that I always seek forgiveness to my own self because I neglected my body, which means that I did not even bother to go on the family history in relation to illness, to diseases, because it's not a priority. We were not trained in our family to look into that kind of context in our family tree. So I actually did not know that I already have the tumor. No, I did not know that, because what happened is the tumor usually also appears 5 days and during and 5 days after the period, which is a normal cycle to the female, because on these 15 days our hormones changes and body changes. So I thought this is just part of the hormonal changes uh, prior to the period, during the period, and in 5 days after the period. So I did not actually bother it. And then October 2015, I'm in my accommodation, which the university provides us. And that is when I was eating my lunch alone. And then all of a sudden, I just felt a pain. I cannot describe the pain. If people already have experienced the pain of having a normal delivery to a baby, that pain is nothing to the one that I experienced for, I may say, 5-10 seconds.
You mean
You know,
labor pains?
no, the pain that I experienced, that is when I know that I have a cancer, that I have a tumor, because it's all started under my underarm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And then the pain, it basically like a shooting star or shooting bullet, that actually it goes so fast from my underarm going to the tip of my nipple. So I may say it's just a matter of less than 10 seconds. And when I felt that, I wanted to express the pain, but there's no voice coming out. And then when I touched my breast, I said, wow, there's something heavy in my breast. What's wrong with it? This morning I was taking a bath. It was not there. So I look at myself in the mirror, and then I immediately something bluish in the skin. Then I said, where did this come from? So it alarmed me. And then immediately I went to the hospital, nearest hospital here in Ajman. And then I basically went to an OB-GYN, because that is where we women usually go. And then the OB-GYN says, I have to refer you this time to the surgeon, because she said that the surgeon will be the best person who's going to see what is going on in your breast right now. So the surgeon actually asked me to, how do you call this, do the basic step, uh, breast, first mammogram. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Second is the breast ultrasound. Okay. So these are the two basic procedures that she basically asked me. The thing is that, Maganda, I have a bad experience with the first surgeon, the
Oh.
first surgeon that I have. Okay. So when the result of the two procedures, the mammogram and the biopsy, I mean the mammogram and the breast ultrasound came out, she basically asked me to see her. So I went to her clinic. So inside her clinic, this is the scenario. The moment I entered, immediately I can see her face. She looks so very, very worried and bothered. For me, as a patient, and you are a doctor, I will not, I don't like to see that kind of facial expression. Because if
Right.
there is something of me, there's something wrong with me, and seeing
Yes.
your facial expression, you are already telling me that,
Not
Sharon,
okay.
you're going to die. You
And
know?
yes. Yes.
Yes. But that's I basically was seeing her. And then when I sat down, immediately she told me like, Sharon, why only now? Then I said, what do you mean why only now? And then she says like, you have a stage 3 breast cancer. And she immediately asked me, from where are you? Then I said, I'm from Philippines. Then the word, this particular specific sentence or word that she says, go back to your family in the Philippines and spend the remaining time of your life. On that very moment when I heard those words coming out from her mouth, me, instead of getting worried or having fear in me, I was actually very, very angry. Not to the words, but to her.
Right.
Because for me, you only did mammogram, you only did breast ultrasound, but you
Mm,
never did the biopsy that would totally confirm that yes, I have a stage 3 breast cancer. And in my heart and in my mind,
mm.
it says like, who are you to basically tell me that I am dying? You are not God.
Yeah.
That made me angry. That made me angry. So I turned that
Mhm,
anger into a motivation that I'm going to prove to you and to the people that I am going to survive. And since cancer is what God have given to me,
mhm,
he has a message, okay?
mhm,
He has a reason, and I'm
mhm.
going to prove to the world that I am going to survive and I will not be affected of that statement. You have to spend the remaining time of your life.
Wow, that is something. I don't even know what to call it. But I want us to go a little bit back because I was just listening as you are talking, and you said something that the pain that you felt, you sort of you were putting it in comparison with, when a woman sort of is in labor about to get kids, that is not even so painful than what you felt,
That's true.
the sharp pain. Because I want us to have this conversation. The reason why I wanted us to have this conversation is so that we can have this chance of this. Of course, everyone's experience might be different, but at least when they feel a certain sensation, people can already, be alarmed, and get themselves checked and all that. You have also said that the doctor immediately, said to you, go back to the Philippines, go back to your family so that you can spend the rest of, your remaining days with your family. And that brought anger to you, for her saying that. And because she's the doctor, so she should handle. For me, listening to you, she could have handled it a bit differently, because that's very, it's pain, it's harsh with my
True.
own, for me,
True.
watching from the other side of the room. So you became angry, right?
Yes,
But you are
exactly.
not angry because she has told you that you've got some few days left, so go back to
Yes.
your family. You became angry because of what she had, because of her words. What
Yes.
else was going through in your mind? Did, let's say, okay, so the doctor said go back home,
Mhm.
and then she said, why did you wait for so long? Why now? For me, it was an indication that, you have let this cancer to be so progressive. Did you just why did you wait for so long? That's
Yeah.
point number two. And then, she's giving you her own days of your life. That's another point. You were angry, but not to the cancer results, the what you have been told, but you were angry because of her words towards you.
True. That's really very true. Yes.
So let's go back to when she said, it's cancer and it's stage 3.
Mhm.
You said to me that that was something that, inspired you to fight. So please just talk us through a bit about that. Because your reaction towards the cancer, with my own understanding, was a bit different
Mhm.
than, but you were angry with the way the way things were handled to you. So what else was going on in your mind?
Yes. When I was told to go back to the Philippines and spend the remaining time of my
Mm-hmm.
life, right then and then, what comes into my mind is she's already putting me into a death sentence. You know,
Mm-hmm.
which that is usually what many of the people perceive
Mm-hmm.
to a cancer.
So do you, okay, let's go there. I want to say something right there, Dr. Sharon. Do you think then the way this news can be shared to the other person is what can actually create fear to the patient and say, oh, it's cancer and I'm being told like I'm gonna die? So do you feel that that is where the fear begins?
No, for me, in my experience, like I said, when I was told about it, I think I was just really so rational during the time, okay?
Mhm.
Because the way how she expresses, like I said, the moment I enter her clinic, I can see the facial expression and I can already read something. So when I saw her face, I immediately started to condition myself.
Okay.
Yes, condition myself whether what will be the result is it's going to be negative or positive. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
It's a matter of conditioning yourself. Okay,
Mhm.
it's a matter of conditioning yourself that when the news is given to you, you know how you can be proactively going to accept it instead of saying reactively accepting it. So
Mhm.
that's my way on how I basically have approach.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
during the time when she told me. And the thing is that for me as a patient and you
Mhm.
are a surgeon, it is important for me that you should know how to communicate,
Mhm.
because especially people, they all there is this stigma that
Mhm.
cancer is a death.
Mhm.
Doctors knows that. So if you wanted your patient, okay, to be cured and
Mhm.
not to be afraid with cancer, you should know how to communicate with them properly.
Absolutely. I mean, I would have freaked out.
Of course, of course, of course. That's
Knowing
really very
myself,
common.
you know, like
Mhm.
this is just like with Fauza Diaries, these are real life stories, these are real life experiences, and we are being real here. We are being vulnerable and really sharing openly here. I would freak out, Dr. Sharon, if they tell me, okay, go back to Kenya, you know, I'm like,
Mhm, mhm.
but I just
I can understand. I know, I know, I
but I
know,
just
I
love
know.
you know the way you handled it.
Mhm.
So talk us through the next step then. You didn't
Okay.
go back to the Philippines. What did
No,
you
no, no, no. I did not, because, like I said, in my mind, okay, somewhat, our subconscious mind, my subconscious mind is telling me that no, you have to prove. You have to prove that you're going to survive with it. So what I did, because I
Mhm.
got so much disappointment with that surgeon, I went back to my ob and my ob says, I think it would be best if you're going to have a second opinion, which is really very true. Because again, I'm going to stress this point things. Okay, many people, when they're immediately diagnosed with a certain illness, immediately they say, yes, this is it. But my advice in any other medical field, even the doctors would says, if you are
Mhm.
not, if you wanted to make sure, we
Mhm.
would suggest to go for three opinions,
Okay.
three different hospitals, three different checkups, three different doctors. And
Mhm.
if they have a unanimous result of the test, then that is
Mhm.
when you can say, yes, I have it. You know? Yeah, so that's my advice. Always seek for third opinion. So my ubigani referred me to the second, how do you call this, hospital in
Mhm.
Al Ain.
Mhm.
So imagine I have to travel from Ajman to Al Ain. And then when I arrived there, I also have a different experience. Okay,
Mhm.
people there are
Mhm.
really, really very helpful. And
Mhm.
then that is when I also the surgeon there says like, just to make sure, we will do again the procedure on mammogram,
Mhm.
breast ultrasound, and this
Mhm.
time we will do the biopsy. Then I said yes,
Mhm.
let's do it. Okay,
Mhm.
let's do it.
Mhm.
So the thing is that in that particular hospital, they only accept one kind of insurance.
Okay.
And my insurance is not accepted, so I have to pay in cash. All right. So now, my dear, I want you to let you know, and your audience let you know,
Mm-hmm.
that help is will always come.
Help will
God,
always come.
yeah,
Okay.
God will always send someone to you. He
Right.
knows when you need the help. I'm going
Amen.
to say that. Yes, He knows when you
Amen.
need the help.
Amen to that.
So when I went there,
Uh-huh.
I only have 200 dirhams in my wallet, honestly.
Okay.
Okay. So when I went there, they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, your insurance cannot be accepted. You have to go back. You have to go and open a file." So when I open a file, the receptionist says, "Ma'am, you have to deposit 1,000 dirhams." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Where were you supposed to open the file? Because the reason why I want
Mm,
us to have all this check, it's because
mm,
if someone, let's
mm,
say, is going through exactly the same at the
mm.
moment and they are here in UAE, what how can they, how can they get the help? So you were told you need to go to open a file.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
the receptionist area.
right,
Yeah,
okay.
because I just immediately went into the clinic. I did not actually go to the receptionist. I actually totally forgot that I had to do that first things first. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was told that I had to open a file and pay a deposit of 1,000 dirhams, then I said, "I'm sorry, I cannot do that." Then again, instead of me discouraging myself, I started to pray. I started to talk to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I started to talk to him. And then, right then, I was sitting in the hospital lobby. I started browsing my mobile and I saw the name of my student.
Mm-hmm.
And then I call her because she says, I work in Al Ain. So for me, it's just like, okay, I just call her. Maybe perhaps she's here in Al Ain. She can give me an advice. So when I
Mm-hmm.
call her, she says like, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm in the hospital lobby." And then she just hung up. Then I said, "Oh no," she hung up. Not even 5 minutes, she was in front of me.
Oh.
And that is when I learned that she's a director. She works as director
Oh,
and she holds that position in a government service.
wow.
I did not expect that. That is when I told you God knows when He's going to send help
An
in
angel.
the right time. Yes. So she asked me, and then I told her my condition, and she says, "Come, let's go to that receptionist."
Mm-hmm.
So again, I was there in front of the receptionist, and the receptionist said the same word. You have to deposit 1,000 dirhams. And immediately my student says, "Write my name there as her guarantor."
Mm.
Then I did not pay anything.
Wow. God
Then
is,
the procedure, yes, then the procedure went in. Another touching experience. Okay,
yeah.
when I went to the surgeon, then the surgeon says, since your insurance is not accepted, then you have to pay the three procedures. So they calculated, and it runs 2,700 dirhams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I told her, like, "Look, doctor, can I just go back during the salary, during the payday, so that I can pay you?" Then she says, "My dear, your condition is something that we should not delay." And then immediately, I was just, my heart was just, when I saw her, took her bag, took her bag, opened her wallet, and took 1,000 dirhams from her wallet, and she says, "This is my share for 2,000, for the 2,700 dirhams." She calls the nurse and she says, "This lady needs help so that
Mm-hmm.
we can do the three procedure. I already gave 1,000 dirhams. I want you to raise 1,700 dirhams from every one of you here in the clinic."
Wow.
I was like, I said, "No, doctor, let's just wait." Then she says, "No, no, 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 no. This is our obligation. We know your condition."
Yeah. Yeah.
So then immediately she says, "Your nurse is waiting for you. Go, please." She says, "Don't think about the money.
So
That's not
you,
your problem.
yeah.
Your concern is to get through again with your mammogram, with your breast ultrasound, and your biopsy."
So talk us through now the whole procedure.
Mm.
So you went in, you had your mammo, biopsy,
Yes.
and all that. So walk us through that journey.
So after the biopsy, the procedure is you have to wait for 10 days because they have to bring it to the laboratory, and the medical technologists will do their job as well. So after 10 days, I received a call from them, and then they said you have to come. It's really very important. So I went back to that hospital in Al Ain, and then right then and then the surgeon says, "My dear," which is the exact opposite of the first surgeon. Okay, she was so calm, she was so assuring that
Mm.
even if the result says that yes, you have stage 3 breast cancer, but you will be going to be perfectly fine.
Amen.
Yes,
So
that
here
is
you
the
are.
yes, that's it. The thing is that we did not agree on one procedure. Okay, she says
Which
that this is,
was?
which was that after the mastectomy, which means removing the breast, she basically wanted me to do reconstruction.
Okay.
Yeah, I have nothing against reconstruction.
So, okay.
Okay,
So, okay. Yeah. Carry on.
I have nothing against reconstruction of my breasts.
Mm-hmm.
I respect people who basically do that. All right. But for me, it's something that I do not want to do it. It is simply because I wanted to be reminded every day that losing one breast for me would mean that God has sent me a very precious, precious, precious message that He loves me,
Wow, Sharon.
that He loves me. So I said, "Doctor, I'm sorry, I really cannot do the reconstruction." I think I felt that she was offended with that because she was really, really willing to help me. Then
Mm-hmm.
again, the issue of the insurance is not being covered. So they told me, "My dear, I want you to go to this another hospital,
Mm-hmm.
okay, in Abu Dhabi."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they did not say in Abu Dhabi. Okay, I may mention the name of the hospital. It is NMC Hospital, and they have
Okay.
a lot of hospital all over UAE.
Yes,
Okay?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they said, uh, we know that that particular hospital has one of the best 5 oncologists and best 5 surgeon in the Middle East. They
Okay.
themselves recommended. They themselves recommended it. Go there and see
Mm-hmm.
if your insurance can be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
they said, that there are so many NMC hospitals here in UAE, but we don't know where exactly it is. So
Mm-hmm.
again, the feeling that, oh no, I have to find this again. Then another beautiful story came in.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back here in Ajman. I just started browsing my Messenger and my Facebook. A message from my high school classmate pop up in my messenger, says like, "Sharon, how are you? I read what is being posted in your Facebook. How true
Mm-hmm.
it is?" Then I said, "Yes, it is really very true." Then I told her, I have to find this particular oncologist and surgeon who is in
Mm-hmm.
NNC hospital, but I do not know where to find them.
Mm-hmm.
Then she says, okay, then she says, "I'll get back to you."
Okay.
Few minutes after, she messaged me. She says like, "Sharon, I already made a schedule for you to the oncologist and to the surgeon. They're actually here in our hospital." Then I said, "Wow, where are you working?" She says, "I'm working in an insurance department in the NMC hospital." I did not know that, sister.
An
You see?
angel. An
Yes,
angel.
yes,
Another
you see?
angel.
Yes,
So you
that,
went in now to this hospital,
mm.
and then the procedure started.
Yeah. So I immediately went to NMC hospital because my classmate already did this, the how do you call this, the appointment.
Registration.
I
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, the surgeon is already, he is really very accommodating, exactly the opposite of the other 2 surgeons. The way how he speaks very professionally, he is really very kind. For us who is already suffering that kind of illness, okay, cancer, we tend to be very, very sensitive.
Okay.
Yeah, we tend to be very sensitive, but then again, I just try to be really, really very strong because I just want to get through finish with this cancer thing.
Yeah.
So I went there, and then immediately he says, we need to do the same procedure again just to ensure. And for me,
So going back to
yes.
the beginning again.
So for me, it's tiring, but I'm giving myself an assurance that yes, three opinions is there. That's really very important. Three opinions should be there. So he said we will not do again. We will not do the first three procedures. I just want you to get the specimens from the hospital in LA. Bring it here so that our medical technologists can basically see it and examine it. But this time now we need to check your blood test. Okay, we need to do CT scan. Yes, entire body CT scan. And then the next thing is the last one was MRI.
What is that?
I really don't know the full meaning of MRI, but what in my understanding is I was just inside in this machine for 30 minutes without moving. The reason being for that is the doctor, the surgeon basically wanted to see, or the oncologist basically wanted to see if the cancer already spread in the other parts of the body.
Okay.
Yes, and another thing is they wanted to see the exact location where the tumor is, how big it is, what are the nerves that basically attach to it, these things. Yeah. So after the MRI, I was again asked to wait for few days. Then they called me and then they said you have to see your surgeon this time, from oncologist to surgeon in the same hospital. Okay. So when we went to his clinic, the surgeon was all smiling to me. Can you imagine if you are in my situation, you get in, you know that you have stage 3 breast cancer, and the surgeon was just all smiling, you know? But I see something that radiates in him positively, and he sat down and he says, "Come on, get in, sit, be comfortable." The way he deals, the way he speaks, and then he looked at his monitor and he says, "Oh my dear, this is the tumor." He says, "Yes, you have the way he speaks. Yes, this is a tumor, and you have stage 3 breast cancer, but there's nothing to worry about this." Imagine I say, there's nothing to worry about the cancer. This is just the stage has just started.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to remove that tumor 100%. I'm going to put you inside the operating room. Give me only 2 hours. After 2 hours, you're back in your bed.
Wow.